Hello guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video on some of my top 10 luxury makeup products that I personally feel like are worth the splurge. I'm also going to be demoing these products throughout this video so that you can really see them in action and see why I love them so much. This video is sponsored by Whatnot, and if you don't know what Whatnot is, it's basically like an online eBay, Depop, QVC. It's going to be on your phone, so I'm going to have a link in my description box with more information about Whatnot. I'm also going to be hosting 2 live streams on Whatnot. So one will be on luxury makeup where you get to see these products and I'll kind of do a little bit of a tutorial, and then the other one will be testing celebrity makeup artist makeup favorites and also trying to help you achieve different looks using celebrity makeup artist techniques. Both of these live streams on Whatnot that I'm doing will be an hour long, so I'm really excited about that because I'm gonna get to go really in depth with the products and the techniques. All you have to do is create an account on whatnot.com, and then you download the app on your phone, sign into your account, and then you can watch my live stream, leave comments, we can talk to each other while I'm doing them. So I will have the link to join whatnot.com in the description box, as well as the dates of the specific live streams that I'm going to be doing. First product I want to talk about is a primer that I'm really starting to go through. I just grab this almost every time I do my makeup because I love it so much. So it's the Dior Forever Glow Veil. I love everything about this primer, especially in the demo. I feel like you can really tell I have a little bit of a breakout going on this side of my face, and it doesn't emphasize the texture, and that's one of the biggest things that I kind of like struggle with. When I have any type of visible texture on my skin, I still want to be able to have that like radiant, bouncy, luminous looking skin, and a lot of times I do feel like illuminating primers, they emphasize texture or even kind of just make it look worse. And I feel like it's also hard to find a primer that's this, you know, brightening and glowy without disrupting the finish of your makeup. So that's also what I really like about this primer. It's not going to transform the finish of whatever you put on top of it. So if you use a matte foundation, the foundation will stay matte. If you use a dewy foundation, it's not going to make it look any more dewy or oily. So obsessed with the way it makes my makeup go on, but also the way it visibly brightens my complexion before I go in with makeup application. So for me, someone with a really dull, dry skin type, this is beyond ideal. And it also doesn't feel heavy. So that's another thing, you know, with me with primers, I really don't like things that feel heavy or like an additional layer of makeup on my skin. So I just truly obsessed with this primer. I think it's been so nice and I've loved adding it to my routine. Okay, on that same note, this concealer has really come back into my rotation. I've used it a few years ago and I was really impressed with it. I do think that it is worth the splurge if you have a more problematic skin type. If you have perfect skin, you probably wouldn't find a use for this, but for someone like me with deep, you know, dark hyperpigmentation from post-acne or discoloration on my base, and I really want something that's going to hide those problem areas but also kind of provide a little bit of a blurring effect, I'm in love with it. So it's the Clé de Peau concealer. This is the one that comes in, oh, I just dropped the lid, but this is the one that comes in stick form. It kind of has a formula similar to a oil pastel. It's very creamy. It's kind of more on the dry side, which I know you would think I wouldn't like, but if I prep correctly, it's pretty much undetectable on my skin tone. I wear the shade Ochre. This will probably last me years to come, but I wanted to show you, you know, like one side of my face corrected with this concealer and not doing the other side. If I really take the time to use the right brush, I'm using a Zoeva 142 concealer brush for this, so I can really kind of push and work this into those dark spots, and it blends away pretty much undetectable. And then even for areas where it's like a little bit more raised, I love how this is matte but creamy, so it blurs out that texture, and just the way that it has the ability to hide hyperpigmentation so seamlessly is, I think, what is the most incredible about it. I also do really like how when this has set down, it doesn't dry down any more dry. It doesn't emphasize texture, and I really like using this underneath foundation. So you can definitely use it after you've done your foundation to do any like last minute spot touch-ups, but underneath foundation it just kind of helps even everything out. And I'm telling you, like, the tiniest amount of this really goes the longest way. So I even like this under the eyes. Crazy, I know, because I typically don't use stick concealer under the eyes most of the time, but there's something about the formula. It's so emollient and so buttery and just the way it blends out. But I also think like the shade match is pretty undeniable, and for being able to hide breakouts, pimples, hyperpigmentation, discoloration, redness, anything, it's incredible. You guys know me by now, I'm not very experimental when it comes to eyeshadows. I tend to like, you know, mattes and glitters, but I like colors that are easy to work with, especially just because I feel like the trends now with makeup, we're all seeing like very soft washes of color on the eyes, and it's not like super intense like it used to be in 2016. So I feel like excited that the kind of makeup that I like is kind of trending right now, or just, you know, the aesthetic of eyeshadow looks that I tend to like. I'm like very happy that you know, it's not like the cut creases and the crazy colors anymore. I like to stick with what I know, and I don't really buy a lot of full-blown palettes unless I feel like I'm gonna actually get use out of those products. So for me, I have always raved about these, and I've always recommended them because I get the most use out of quads, or, you know, just shadows that are easier to work with. I love the Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow quads. This one specifically in Pillow Talk Dreams, I think it is so pretty. It's really pulling out nice brown tones in my eyes. And I feel like I've told you this a million times, but you know how much I love Charlotte Tilbury Dolce Vita. This is kind of like an intensified version of Dolce Vita, and I think that the shadows are wearable, they're beginner friendly, they're easy to use. I love the Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadows, and I think that this one specifically is also really great for fall and winter. I love the way the eye look turned out. And her like glitter pop shades, they're phenomenal. They're really just gonna add kind of that wet looking crystal glitter on top of the eyes. And I just feel like with a quad like this, it's easy to figure out, it's easy to use. It's something that I'll personally reach for, and I can utilize all the shades in the quad. But this one, specifically Pillow Talk Dreams, so good for brown eyes. This is pretty exciting because you guys know how much I love the Chanel cream bronzers. Well, now they are actually available in a mini size, which I feel like is probably more realistic for most people, because if you don't wear bronzer every single day, maybe you wouldn't see yourself investing in the full-size Chanel cream bronzer pot, but the minis are perfect if you just wear bronzer a couple times a week, or you tend to like a really light amount of bronzer. So this is one of my favorite cream bronzers because although it is a cream, it has more of a satin set down on the skin, so I love this during, I love it all times of the year, but I also really like it the most during fall and winter because it's not quite as dewy. I feel like my hair doesn't stick to my face when it blows in the wind, and the formula of this is like a really nice kind of moussey cream, sets down on the skin with a little bit more of a blurred filtered finish. And I like to wear this a little bit more sheer, but you can definitely build up the intensity with the Chanel cream bronzers and really get more impact if that's what you're looking for. This is also a really great product to use for the underpainting technique, or if you like to do bronzer underneath your foundation for a little bit of a sun-kissed glow before the bronzer step. I think it looks gorgeous underneath makeup or on top. The choice is really yours how you like to utilize this cream bronzer, but definitely really excited that there's a smaller option available because I feel like this is more standard to like what you see with a cream bronzer. And in this one you actually have 15 grams of bronzer. If I'm looking at some other random bronzers in front of me, this one has 8 grams of bronzer, and then 6.5 grams in 2 random bronzers I'm just pulling up. So 15 grams of bronzer. I feel like that's a lot more of a realistic, usable amount of bronzer because the other Chanel pots, they're huge. I still love those, but I was excited to see that there's a smaller version available. This next one's actually a repurchase, so you know I love it. I've definitely talked about it on my channel many times throughout the years. It's the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Duo. This I have in the shade Intensity 1. So on the bottom you have your cream contour, and on the top you have your cream highlight. For someone with a dry skin type, I think it's pretty incredible how well this kind of like mimics your skin's texture and just looks the most natural in my opinion. I also really do like the tone of this one, and I just find it really great for adding a little bit of extra chisel, a little bit of extra lift on the cheekbones, things like that. And then with the highlight, this is a dewy balm glistening highlight, so this is really great for adding that extra little bit of reflect on top of the cheek. It's not an intense highlight by any means, so again, something that is someone with like a textured skin type, I really like that because it doesn't emphasize texture, and it's also kind of more of a model off duty type of highlight. So I think that it's great for everyday, very comfortable wear. I will say with the highlight, because it is a balm, take that into mind. Occasionally I will have to do a couple touch-ups throughout the day, but the way that this wears is so worth it to me, and I love the formulas of these. I feel like whenever I do my makeup using this, I feel like my makeup looks so good, like a little bit extra elevated, a little bit more polished, so I'm just really into that. I also have two brushes from NARS that I've really been loving. So these are the NARS MIE Kabuki brush and the NARS Yachio brush. So the Kabuki brush is really great for applying cream products. I used it today with the Chanel cream bronzer. I love the way that this just kind of airbrushes the skin and caresses it. It also does come to a nice taper at the top, so I like that for a little bit of precision. I used it to apply my blush as well, and I just think it blends everything out really nice and seamless. It's just a beautiful brush, really multi-use in my opinion. I've used it to apply liquid foundation as well and been super happy with it. So it's a really good, well-rounded brush that I can find a lot of different use for. And then the other one, the Yachio Kabuki brush. So today I use this for powder. It's a lot more loose than the Kabuki brush, so I love how this will just kind of lightly lay powder down over my skin, and it's not so intense that my skin looks like over powdered. So I like the light dusting of powder effect that this gives. I've also used this to apply highlight, blush, bronzer. Like, it really kind of goes whichever way you feel, but definitely I think my favorite use for this is the application of powder products. I think it just makes them go on so nice and seamless, and both of these brushes highly recommend. And you guys know how much I love Dior Show Waterproof. This is my favorite mascara of all time. I love the larger than life brush. I just think it gives such great intensity, such volume, and I am obsessed with it in the shade Catwalk Brown. The reason that this is my favorite mascara is because it can be worn like really light, just one coat. You get a little bit of extra definition and length and wispiness on those lashes, but you can really pile this mascara on top of itself and get some really great drama. So this mascara actually like holds its own with heavy eyeliner looks or like smoky looks. It's the mascara that I know that looks good regardless of the type of eye look that I'm doing. And I think it's kind of hard to find a mascara that actually pairs really well with a smoky look, because you want your lashes to be a little bit more intensified, and I feel like with this one you just get the best of both worlds. It also comes in a waterproof formula, which is huge for me, and then I just like that I found it in the brown shade as well, because I feel like it just makes your eyes pop a little bit more. So I can't recommend this mascara to you enough. So the last thing I want to talk about are the Gucci Glow and Care lipsticks. Again, I have another repurchase in here. So we have Lynette Stone. This is my third tube of this. This is one of my favorite lip shades for every day. I'm wearing it on my lips right now. I just love how balmy and shiny these are. They go on your lips really nice and slick as well. They're not quite as thick as some other super shiny lipstick formulas that you know of. So I just find it to be really nice for every day. I like that it's not sticky. I like the slick, shiny finish on the lips. And then I also recently got Sally Soft Honey, which is stunning as well. It's just kind of a light, soft apricot. But do you see how like they tint the lips, but they don't really add like volume to your lips like a more glossy version would do. I'm gonna swatch Lynette Stone right next to it. So there's Lynette Stone. And the thing I really like about these is your natural lip color peeks out from behind the color because it's not fully opaque. So I just find it to be really flattering, really fresh, not as full on and intense as other lipsticks. And it's just an easy wear, and I think they're so beautiful. I love the Gucci Glow and Care lipsticks. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. I'm going to list and link everything in the description box, and I'll also have more information regarding the live auction and my live streams on Whatnot in the description box as well. Let me know some other video content you want to see for the near future, but other than that, I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye!